Hey, how you doing? Thanks for coming back and seeing us again. We're on the countdown. We're starting to wrap up here. Today is day 358, 365 days towards racial change. I'm Tomlin's Nyback. I'm hoping, maybe later on, maybe we'll get some music, put some stuff in. I see YouTube has some options in its editor there where I can maybe give some updates. Um, Put tags, links, and stuff in there. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll toy around and experiment with some of that stuff. But right now we're going to have a good foundation um, that we can play with now, as long as YouTube survives. And I'll probably go. Maybe migrate to some other things. When I post a video, when I finish getting it ready, it'll ask me if I want to alert other social media, right? And there's an explosion of social media out there, and I could definitely connect the network with all that stuff and really geek out. But I'm careful about that. I don't want to be. I resist that. I don't know about you, but there's a big portion of my life where I'm resisting the way life just calls to me to engage and participate and distract me and all this stuff. As I turn Facebook notifications off, it's because I'm getting, you know, so many emails. That's because my family members love it and they're talking to each other and posting stuff. And like every time they post a picture or the baby says the first word, I'm getting, I was like, whoa, dude, I cannot handle that. In a lot of ways, that's a distraction measure, something inherent in the system to keep us distracted about what's really going on, not educating ourselves and how to be competitive in the system. We really got to be so on our guard, and it's so sad that we got to fend off whether we're watching commercial TV, it's commercial, watch commercial stuff, infomercials, or email all day long. You gotta keep putting stuff in the junk, more junk. Keep sending me junk, spam and junk. You know. And if a person is not focused on what they want to do, or the direction of their life, then it's going to be very challenging for you know to try to keep up. I admire if somebody can keep up with the plethora of social media. I know there's money to be made and all that stuff, but you really got to be a certain kind of person, certain kind of mind to participate like that. Um, and it reflects on the black experience because we're already oh our life is partitioned to some degree, fending off racism and when we get I just got a poor grade. I finished my semester well, but my last papers got poor grades, and unfortunately, like some of my cognition, some of my thinking goes to, did they do that because I was black? Right. There used to be a time where you'd be like, oh no, don't play the race card stuff. But I had no idea how race is such a part of life's experience. Fortunately, these instructors, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt and all that. The point is that as I processed my disappointment in my grade, racist considerations are part of the process. Boy, what a privilege to think purely academically in my relationship with instructors and stuff. But because I know racism inhabits the entire cross section of America's conversation on race, whether I'm digging a ditch or the president of the United States, now we know, then race is there, has to be navigated, talked about to some degree. Whether it is a factor or not, the victims of it have to think about that. Think about women. Growing up of course, it's different now. But the girls, they pick the girls last because it's associated with weakness. So the girl that gets picked last, has to think, boy, is it have we made these judgments purely on our ability or because I'm a girl? Does that, you know, same way with racism. You know, when I'm looking, I'm still have a lot of trepidation when law enforcement is around. I don't know where that guy's at. They're usually white, and there you go. Bad history. I've been on this planet over 50 years now, and bad history. you know. Oh, don't get me off track. We're on the countdown, okay? Day 358. Tomlin's not back. Listen, I'm inspired to do this work by a man named Dr. Claude Anderson. We reference his material very heavily through this project. He's very intelligent. He knows the topic and the subject and what it means, how it works in America. Excuse me. So we reference his works uh, very heavily. His name's Dr. Claude Anderson. Get these books, if you will. A Black History Reader, 101 Questions You Never Thought to Ask, Black Labor, White Wealth, Search for Power and Economic Justice, and Dr. Anderson's National Plan to Empower Black America, Powernomics. Find Dr. Anderson here on YouTube, powernomics.com. A very easy guy to find. Behind me, you see the hashtag us2 symbol. You'll find Black women supporting one another, having their community, getting together. Check out Dr. Boyce Watkins at the Black Business School, theblackbusinessschool.com. He'll help you out there. There's Tyrone Gregory, self-employed tax guy. Got a lot of great things to say and help you out with. And check out Blog Enough, BLAGGENUF, kind of a Black Facebook experience. That's another social networking community. And we've been through this text, but I'll keep this running until the end of our project here. Uncle Tom's Cabin, fictional account of slave life, but it's informed by factual events. Now, listen, if you can't find your flavor, you want to get your word out, or you want to just get something off your chest, you can just talk. These videos are public, but, as you post or whatever, you can choose to make them very exclusive and private and specify who gets access and things like that. I don't care. I want the world to hear what I'm saying because I've had some of this stuff that we've talked about bottled up in my brain for a long time. Uh, Today's title, day 358 on our countdown here, is Still Slavery. Still slavery. We've not gone anywhere, in my mind, right? People argue, and I got some pushback. Even when I got to go back in the comments. Eventually, I'm going to get to all that. But early on, I did read comments, and one individual is just speaking their mind, says that I'm off track. Slavery's over. We're beyond that. As though racism, we've solved our racism problem. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Senator McConnell believes that. He believes that because we had a black president. Boy, this we had this black president, and it just is proof that America is no longer has race problems and stuff like that. I don't know, it's like, well, we got this coronavirus, and you take your inoculation, get your, some medicine for that, and because you took the shot, you say that racism or that the virus is taken care of us. We are through with it, right? Well, that's why you're taking it. You have it because it's evidence that something's going on in the system, right? You inject your black president. Uh, it is a good, I guess, milestone. The country, it does show the country has come a distance. But that's, it's a space still surrounded by white power. It's not like uh, black presidency means that the floodgates have open season on uh, black um, competition and participation in America's wealth and resources system. The black president didn't lead the way of that. We still had inclusion, and everybody needed to get served and resources and all that. And um, black people who've been waiting for centuries to participate did not get considerations and allowances and things like that because we got a black president. It's interesting. A lot during that time, other groups did get considerations, get resources. Things like that. And Native Americans got some attention through those years. A lot of groups, right? But when black people came with their exclusive petitions and things like that, Dr. Anderson wrote to President Obama and stuff like that. You know, it was just balls on deaf ears because everybody's being served and taken care of, right? And the fuel, the success of that is uh, very much, a result of the expendability of black folks, right? Whether it's from incarceration down the very bottom to poverty or being drones in the labor force and meeting all kinds of resistances to advancement and success. That's the story, the common denominator for black people in America. It's still slavery, where we still live in the construct. The um, country's founded with whites up here, up definitely, up or ahead, black people underneath or behind, right? And it's like a fixed chasm there that um, it's hard to leap over. You get black folks, you can entertain, bounce a ball, then yeah, you got a shot at crossing over into um, better communities, better access, healthcare, and things like that. But for the most part, for the majority of Black folks, the socioeconomic condition is just a challenge. Um, and it's an aspect. It's the way the system has moved, lived, and breathed. It's what made the country successful. The country couldn't be as successful as it is today if it had to had a compromise, if it had to um, pay living wages for the work being done. No, that labor had to be essentially free for America to have its success, for America to become competitive in a short amount of time. Yeah, we our Constitution and the country is having a good long run when it comes to governments on the planet. But it didn't come. Uh, it came out at a hefty price, right? So it needed some people to um, give their all into that system, right? Or it wouldn't have worked. We wouldn't have become competitive in that amount of time. All the wealth and resources that you see up here in North America, United States, we couldn't do that um, and fight off people for wars and take land from Spain and all that stuff. We needed free labor, and we needed zero resistance from the land. So America has its history with the Native Americans. Native Americans will have, I'm sure they have plenty of resources right here on YouTube saying the exact same thing about the relationship with America and Black folks. And but the problem is, what's so sadistic about it? What makes it a crime? It's not wrong. I saw some people on C-SPAN. I guess they were having a kind of a town hall type thing, and the speaker was being so very careful about how wrong America was about slavery and what Lincoln had to deal with, and the slavery is wrong. And it's so very he is so careful and soft about forcing people into labor, raping their women, and then after the nation's up and running. Even after the Civil War, the nation has the has settled on the direction it's going to go going forward. It doesn't stop and say, this open nation of freedom, let's really extend it to everybody. No, you kept on, you kept that portion of society in its place so that others could prosper and move forward up in the system, right? So on those notes, America is moored, is rooted in racism. It's how the system goes. It's like a battery. Right? A battery has a positive side and a negative side, and the electrons flow in a certain direction to make your phone operate properly. Your electronic devices. You look around you, the electricity. It's all because as the electrons are going from negative to positive or whatever direction. It doesn't matter. It's physics. I took 4 years of it in high school. It doesn't really matter as long as the damn thing works. But there has to be a difference. That's why they call it the potential. You got a 3-volt battery and it's got 3 volts of potential. The potential is there because of the difference in the poles. right? So um, you take your pencil and you lift it off the floor. The higher you lift it, right, the greater the potential in there of the energy. You know, if I just have it an inch off the floor, and that's just an inch of energy. You get you'll hear a little a sound. It's not going to damage much. But if I go to the top of a 10-story building and drop the pencil off, then the potential for damage is greater because I've increased the potential, right? And America runs on that, but it does it with people, right? Some people have to be kind of down on the bottom, and then you got other people, other groups way high up top, right? And that potential runs the system. It makes the current flow in the nation, right? Um, and it's from that model. It's the people up here. Boy, this what a great system. But the people down the bottom eating crow, uh, not self-determining their lives, um, being spent in the system, being used up. Well, they have a different story. You realize it's a different experience. Um, that's why I'm kind of glad this virus hit. It's a pain in the butt. Some of the changes we had to go through, but I'm glad it hit because it just broke. It hurt the machine. I'm glad it did because now the people on the bottom, they kept us distracted, working, and thinking of some of our heart's desires as hobbies and things to dream about as we're punching somebody's widgets all day long. God, I hated that part of life. Man, I'm punching your widgets, but this morning energy, this little burst I feel I could be putting into my personal project, what I'm here on earth to do. I'm not on earth to beg you for a wage. You ain't even giving me a living wage anymore. One job used to do it in this country, but now time goes on and wages go down, cost of living keeps going up. I'm in a town that had a big boom in real estate. Thank God for the virus, you know, because they're just going to slow down some of that expansion and all these white privilege high prices people are spreading all over the place. It's like, wow, I don't see any citizenship out there. Still slavery, the potential, making the machine go. And it's because it's too many are expendable, too few benefit. That's just not right in the system in America. Very sad. America's moored, unfortunately, is moored to racism. All the little things you see, and the way we're trying to compensate for the virus and vaccines and stuff like that. It's all so that we can have the system flow it just as it did, so we can get back to normal and get back to keeping the vulnerable and unfortunate at the bottom again, and so the prosperous can remain up top. You know, but it's anchored. It works. An element, a component, a cog in America's wheel, in America's machinery, is racism. It's a big cog, too. That finely tuned and adjusted over the centuries. I was watching some YouTube videos of building collapses, and this is especially true for the ones near the water. If the water undermines the foundation, well, then you see where The construction companies have put the pylons and the moors of the building when the building falls over. It's the footing, and you see it. It just gave way, and it goes along with the building. Well, those are the roots that were supposed to keep that building in place, you know, and all that. But it failed, and now the building has fallen over. You got to be skeptical. Before I got to this project here, I knew I was in a system. I knew the system wasn't working for me, but I had no idea the level of things that are codified, aspects of the system that are historical. Um, that part of it, the success of the system, is its level of subterfuge and denial that it exists. Tell you a quick story. I used to be a terrible thief, and in grade school, uh, it's an old game now, but when Simon first came out, uh, it was a cool game. And it's got the red, blue, and green and yellow pads, and you see who can master it, and it keeps give you different iterations of a pattern and stuff like that. Well, um, my family didn't have the means to keep up with the Joneses like that, but my I was in it was second grade, I think. So you can think I'm second grade. I'm like 4 foot high, right? And this time when Simon came out, the original game, it was like this big. It would cover your face with it. It was a big old, just circular game. And this kid brought it in, and I was like, "Wow, man, that's the coolest thing." And I won't tell you the whole story, but I ended up stealing it, kinda, right? Because I'm a little kid, and this thing is this big, right? Simon. And I think I call myself, I'm gonna stick it under my shirt when I think nobody's looking. I'm in the middle of the class. I think nobody's looking, and as I'm walking out with this thing, and I'm trying to hide it in my books of the classroom, the teacher's like, do you have anything? Did you take anything from someone? And teacher's trying to be nice, and I said, no, no. I got this big Simon thing under my shirt. And I'm on the bus. I go all the way home with it and stuff. But anyway, that's racism in America. It's the same thing. No, no racism here. No, we are totally inclusive and hanging out, and we're being a part of and stuff like that. Ain't no racism around here. No, no, you didn't get promoted because we went with someone else or whatever. No, it wasn't racism at all. No, not because you're black. Um, you know, oh, you're working. You know, when I, as you know, I've been in and out of rehabs and stuff. Right. When I go to a central location to get some rehab, um, they're going to send me down to the hood to get the rehab. But they got these nice, clean, quiet places for the white folks in. Hey, check your healthcare. Um, check any kind of system that has like houses, multiple houses, and you'll see that's how they roll. They One of the first things they ask you, what's your ethnicity? What's your race? Why does that matter? And we're collecting for government stuff. No, you're not. You're sending the black people down to the hood where the drugs and the violence, it's all chaos. You send the white people up to a nice, uh, clean space where there's quiet. You can really recover, have a fighting chance at least. is racism. Let me end with this, or we're coming out of. I think I'd had more to say about this than I thought. I only had a little notes today. Racism is scalable. Now, what I mean by that is like you look at racism as far as slavery back 1600s, 1700s on, right? And it's always this thing where if you take away the coercion and abuse and things like that, there's still you're looking at a socioeconomic condition in which white people are on top, black people on bottom. Well, I say racism is scalable because the same conditions exist today. It's just not legal to beat me on the street, smack me around, take my wife and lay with her as you will, and stuff like that. But the socioeconomic piece is consistent and remains today. So, and that's what, you look at any time, any freedoms, emancipations that got extended were always offset, by loopholes and caveats that maintained that structure in the system. All right, so slavery is it's scalable. I don't see it going away anytime soon. So you could freeze me. I can come back in 1,000 years, right? I'm still gonna see this majority of white folks running the show, and black folks still, you know, wrestling with existing and competing at the bottom of the system. It's still slavery, America. Um, I think we're going to need to change soon. Sometimes I feel like something in the air, something's coming to really force that on us, where we're going to have to change. Everybody. I'm Thomas Nyback. Thanks for hanging out with me. That's day 358 in the can. We're on the downhill. We're on the countdown of 365 days towards racial change. I will see you next time. Bye bye.